Northern Ontario, Canada, and I want to welcome you to the very first Sweater Weather Podcast. This podcast will be primarily focused on knitting and crocheting, but may include some of my other cozy hygge interests from time to time. And let's get started. So, usually knitting and crocheting podcasters start with finished objects, and that is where I'm going to start, although I do not have the completed object with me right now because I already gave it as a gift. I do have a picture of the pattern. It's called the Chloe shawl, as you can see here, and the pattern is by Christina Smiley. And this is actually my second crochet project. I only started crocheting in January, and I learned how to crochet just by watching various YouTube tutorials, and I came upon the Expression Fiber Arts tutorial. I already had the yarn. It's from Michaels, and it's a cotton yarn. The color is called Deep Celadon, so it was kind of like a minty green, and I will try and insert a picture of the finished shawl when I'm done. I haven't done a YouTube video before, so I don't know about my capacity to insert pictures, but I will give it a shot. So that one was a gift, as I mentioned. So that's my only finished object right now, and I don't even have it, but that's okay. So moving on to whips. For works in progress, I have a couple. So I have a crochet blanket. It is called the Stitch Sampler Afghan from Annie's Crochet Afghan Block of the Month Club. I'll show you here. So the reason that I signed up for this monthly project was that I really wanted something that would teach me a lot of different crochet stitches a little bit at a time. And also I felt like, oh, I would have a nice sense of accomplishment if I learned each stitch and completed a block. And at the end of it, I would have a nice crochet Afghan. So the monthly kit itself is not inexpensive. It is fairly expensive for what you get, because you get a video tutorial each month that really walks you through how to do each stitch. So I have a couple that are done. And these are the most basic stitches because they start you off easy and then you move on. You can see that these are not blocked yet. I'm not there, but I will stretch them out to pretty much even size, I hope. But yeah, so I learned some new stitches. I completed 3 blocks. The yarn that they send you is the Premier Anti-Pilling yarn. It's an everyday worsted. There's 203 yards or 186 meters. And so it's washable. You can throw it right in the washing machine and the dryer as well. So yeah, it says machine wash on warm and tumble dry on normal, which is good for an Afghan because you really want to be able to throw it in the wash. The yarn is really nice and soft, and I did enjoy crocheting with it. I only completed the first 3 blocks, so I actually have 2 more kits I'm behind. They come about every 3 weeks, 3 weeks to a month, and I thought that would be a good way to kind of learn as I go, but what I found was that I get interested in other things. So yeah, so I haven't continued with this, but I plan to continue with this. And hopefully at the end of, I think it's about 10 months, I should have a completed afghan. My other work in progress, my current one that I'm spending the most time working on, is called the Rings of Rings Cowl. The pattern is by Lisa R. Myers. And you can see here. So I ordered this as a kit. I find as a new knitter, I don't feel confident choosing which yarn goes with which pattern. So I like to order kits, and then I feel comfortable that somebody's already done the hard work for me. So this kit came from Pure Lane, which is a store in Canada that has online shopping. And it's Manos del Uruguay yarn. And I will show you. So this project is living in a project bag by Longview Creations, and I'll show you. I think the colors are absolutely amazing. I usually like to have any type of bag, whether it's a shopping bag, duffel bag, project bag, that has a dark color on the bottom, but this comes from Longview Creations, and she was having a sale on Etsy, and I just love the colors. So even though I tend to put things on the floor or on the floor of the car and they get dirty quickly, I'm hoping that it will wash well if it does get dirty. Anyhow, this is the project. I actually don't know what size needles I'm on here. I know I am on Chalgu needles because I love these Chalgu needles, but I don't know the size off the top of my head. So the way this pattern works is you cast on a provisional cast on, and then you knit in the round, and then when you are done, you put them together, you stitch them together. So you start off with the small, stripes, and then partway through you switch over to larger stripes. And as you can see on the pattern, actually there's another picture of the pattern, I'll just hide that part. You can see it's got the small stripes and the big stripes. However, I learned from working on this project that I'm not really a fan of working on small stripes. I know a lot of people are, because they like to use up their scrappy bits and do small stripes and socks and shawls and what have you. But honestly, this was not for me. I don't know what the colorway on this is because I have several different balls of yarn, but oh, and actually I have, even though I have it in a project bag, I do have my main color in this pretty wooden bowl, and it fits right in my project bag, and I actually feel like it helps it sit upright. And then there's a lot of different colors in here, really pretty. The yarn is really soft, super, super soft. It's a fingering weight yarn, and as you're knitting it, or as I'm knitting it, I find that it's actually blooming under my hands as I'm knitting it, so it's even becoming softer. So I would imagine that it's going to become very, very soft after I block it. So as I was saying before, I have learned that I am not a fan of doing small stripes. I learned that I'm a little bit impatient, if I didn't already know that about myself. And I watched a lot of tutorials online about how to do jogless stripes. And in the beginning, it worked really nicely. The stripes line up very, very nicely right here. But I find you could clearly tell where I'm changing yarns, and I was getting frustrated because I had so many ends to weave in after, and I was just feeling like a little bit overwhelmed. So partway up, I switched to the weave and Steven method of knitting and changing colors so that I could have all my ends woven in as I went, and I wouldn't have to go back and do it later. But I don't know what I did. I have holes. I have a big mess is what I have. It's not the pattern. The pattern's fine. So I am going to, yeah, I added stitches, I dropped stitches, I don't know. But anyways, I am going to continue with this project. It did teach me a lot. It's not a project that I could gift to anybody because it's messy. However, I do feel that when it's done and it's blocked, the way that you wear it around your neck will mean that you're not really gonna see all of these mistakes, I hope. And that is my plan anyways. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to weaving in all these ends, I have to say. But I'm almost done that. I tend to be a monogamous knitter, so I tend to kind of stick on one project at a time. Oh, I thought one of my needles fell off and I was about to start crying. But it's just a crochet hook for fixing mistakes that I keep in there. Anyways, so in the same vein of the crochet Afghan club, I also started knitting on this project. It is again, it's a blanket, but this time it's knit in blocks instead of crochet. So it's knit, and again you learn all these really nice patterns. It's part of the I guess it's a knit along, it's by Kelly Menzies from the Roro and Katie's podcast, and she's doing this project called the Stitch on Sunday blanket. So every Sunday she releases a tutorial about how to do a block and knit in a different pattern, and when you're all done, then you again have a nice knitted Afghan. I am using Patton's Decor. So again, I was looking for just a type of yarn that would be inexpensive and that would wash easily, because if I have a blanket, I like to be able to throw it in the wash. So this is 75% acrylic, 25% wool, and you can wash and dry it. So that is what I will be doing. Anyways, I'm enjoying this, but I'm behind. I think she's on week 17 or possibly week 18, and I've done 2. So I plan to catch up. I bought all the yarn for it. If I would just take a couple hours every Sunday and sit down and do it, I could get that done as Kelly intended, I'm sure. Anyhow, everybody says this, and I will say it also. I will put links to all the podcasts and everything that I mention down below. I have one more whip, and again, it's living in this nice bag. It's a small bag from Longview Creations. I got it at the same time that I got the other one, and she was having a sale, and this one has a nice black bottom on it, and I love all the bright colors. So I picked that up. And this one is a sock. So I'm knitting socks. I have never knit socks before in my life. This is, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I used a tutorial of Kay's from the Crazy Sock Lady. It's how to knit, like, it's a vanilla sock on 9-inch circular needles. I feel like the needles I'm using are too small. I think they're the smallest size. So I think they're like a size 0, which is making I don't know, it's just making my gauge super tight, and it's making me worried. And I should say that I've already started altering case pattern, because I knit the cuff, the top part. I knit the ribbing, and then I decided that I didn't want a tall sock. I wanted a shorty sock. And I also discovered, because I didn't realize this when I ordered the yarn, that these crochet sock skeins only come in 50 grams. So I wouldn't have enough to knit a tall sock anyways. So this is Patton's Crochet Socks. It's a 50-gram skein, which has 166 yards or 152 meters on it. And it is in the colorway of Meadow Stripes. I've already started the sock, then realized as I was knitting the sock that you need DPNs to finish this, that you cannot finish the bottom part using the 9-inch circulars. And so I had to put the socks aside, and my daughter bought me DPNs for my birthday. So all I need to do now is pick this up, get those new DPNs out. Actually, I can show you, they're right here. So it's a whole set of sock knitting DPNs that she bought me for my birthday. So now I have no excuse to not get knitting these again, except that I can't remember what I did. So I'll have to rewatch the tutorials and start up again, and hopefully I'll be able to reproduce it for the second sock, because as I said, I don't really remember what I did. But so that is a work in progress. I really hope I get to love sock knitting as much as everybody else seems to like sock knitting. A lot of podcasters talk about how amazing sock knitting is, so I thought, cheapers, I really need to give that a try myself. And the reason I am trying to, well, beyond wanting to learn a new skill, is I am working on a make-along with Cozy Moth Knits. She is having a make-along for learning new skills. It's pretty wide open as to what skills you can learn. So moving to acquisitions, my favorite part of knitting. Well, one of my main acquisitions actually has nothing to do with knitting, but it is this really cute pottery mug. It has no handle on it. It's currently holding my hot black coffee. And I actually got this at my local coffee store. They're not open right now because I'm in Ontario. So, sorry, I should say they're not open to go in for in-customer service, but their drive-through is still open. And I saw on social media that they had posted that they had these beautiful pottery cups for sale. It's got their little logo on the bottom, which is an S for Salute. I really love the colors, and I love that you can hold your cup in your hands and it will keep your hands warm. So it's not too hot. I drink black coffee, which can be very, very hot, but it's not so hot that I can't hold the cup in my hands. It's just enough to keep my hands warm. So I like that a lot. So moving to acquisitions. Okay, I wanted to participate in Jamie's knit along. So that is a knit along that's hosted by Cabin Boy Knits, and last week they had a Zoom cast on party. So everybody is casting on a flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. I think most people in the knitting community are probably familiar with this pattern because it's a really good first pattern for new knitters. That's me. Well, first of all, they had a Zoom meeting, which was like a cast on party. And I joined the Zoom meeting, but I couldn't cast on my sweater because I hadn't received my yarn yet. I had ordered this beautiful rustic yarn from Georgian Bay Fiber Co. It's in the colorway Wobuno Gale. It's a Collins worsted weight yarn. This dyer, Georgian Bay Fiber Co., it's Carla, her name is Carla, and she's local to me. So I wanted to support local. And you choose your yarn that you want and you choose your colorway, and then she dyes it to order, and it takes anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks to be done. And then she actually delivered it to my door, which I greatly appreciated. This is 100% untreated Canadian wool. It's, as I said, a worsted weight. It's 195 meters or 213 yards, and it's a hand wash only because it is 100% wool. So if you want to have a look at that, it's in this absolutely gorgeous blue-gray colorway. It's got some tonal variations because it is hand dyed, so I will have to alternate skeins as I'm knitting the sweater to make sure that I don't get any weird pooling. Usually I have to learn things the hard way. I'm hoping that alternating skeins is not going to be as difficult as what I was doing with the rings on rings cowl and having the small stripes, because if I have all kinds of little holes like that, I'm not going to be happy and I will have to rip it out and start again. The sweater is not for me. The sweater is actually for my husband. He's very knit worthy. As I mentioned, this is a very rustic yarn, so it's not what you would call, like, I wouldn't describe this yarn as soft, although I think it will bloom and soften as I knit with it, and also after it's blocked. So I can't wait to see how that, I'm going to be casting this on today because I'm excited to get started, and I can't wait to see how this is going to knit up. By the way, if any of you have any suggestions about how to avoid those types of holes and messes when you're changing colors and knitting small stripes in the round, I'm very open to hearing them. Please put them in the comments section. I did watch a lot of different tutorials. I was careful to put the new yarn underneath the old yarn. I thought I was doing everything right, but I still was making quite a mess. Another fun thing that I got, another acquisition, was these adjustable wooden sock blockers. They came from an Etsy store. I'll link them below because I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I think it's called Wooden Creations or something like that. I'm not sure, but I will link it below. I thought they were cool. They're handmade, and I thought they were cool because you can adjust the size of the foot. It's also got these really nice snowflake cutouts and lots of holes for airflow when you're blocking your socks. Looking at it now, it does look pretty big. So I'm not sure. I didn't buy them for my husband. I bought them for myself. And I thought I chose the right size, but I guess I will see. I've never knit socks before. I'm just in the middle of knitting that first pair, and I'm still on my first one. So I don't know. We will see. But I think they're cool. And they come all the way from Russia. So it took about a month for them to get here, but I don't think that that is unreasonable at all. I have a couple things here. So another acquisition. I placed an order with Moondrake Yarns. I had gone onto their website after watching an episode of Grocery Girls. So something about what they had said intrigued me, and I went on to that website and I ended up ordering a kit. So this is, Tracy Miller from the Grocery Girls podcast has a pattern called the Unwind Shawl. And I'll hold it up here. You had a choice of different colorways that you could choose to make the shawl, and I really liked these two skeins. One's called, this golden colorway is called Ginkgo. It's superwash merino. So it's 90% superwash merino and 10% linen. It's got a really interesting texture, but very soft. And it's, of course, washed in cold water. It's a hand-dyed yarn. And then this is the exact same type of yarn, but it is in the colorway Prada Blue. And I just loved how these two colors went together, which is probably what prompted me to then add into my cart a skein of this. It actually kind of goes together, but it's not required for the kit. It is the Contemporary Yarn Club, and this is a soft DK yarn, 100% superwash merino 4-ply. And I do not see if it has a colorway. It just says Contemporary Yarn Club. They may have sent me some information and I lost it. I'm not sure. But anyways, I think it's beautiful. And she attached this progress keeper to it as well. So I think it's beautiful. And I am excited to cast this on, but I don't want to have too many things cast on at the same time. So we will see when I get the opportunity to cast this on. And another thing that I threw into my cart from Moondrake Yarns was actually 4 skeins of this hand-dyed mohair. It's a DK weight mohair, 70% kid mohair and 30% mulberry silk. Oh, it's in the colorway Sky. And actually, I couldn't resist it when I saw it because I had seen on Ravelry previously a beautiful shawl knit out of this type of light bluey gray cloudy mohair, and it just honestly looked like a beautiful soft cloud wrapping around you. Of course I didn't save it. I favorite everything on Ravelry, but for some reason I did not favorite that shawl. So I when I went back, I couldn't find the one I was looking for. However, I did find this shawl pattern from Non Such Knits. It's called the Claire Shawl Pattern. You can see it here. And I am going to knit this shawl pattern using this beautiful Sky mohair. It's so nice. It just feels so soft, and I'm really hoping I get that cumulus cloud feeling when I'm done it. I may end up giving it away, but for now, it's probably going to be for me. Moving on to books. So books I am reading, books I have read. So recently I read a book called The Other Misses by Mary Kubaka. I will insert a picture if I learn how to do that before I post this podcast. That is a book that I read with my book club, and I have to say that I wasn't a huge fan of the book. I did finish it. I think part of the problem with that one was that I guessed fairly early what the premise was or what the twist of the story was. I mean, even if I have a feeling I know what's coming, I'm still willing to read through to see what the resolution of the story is. So I continued. I wasn't crazy about the resolution of the story. I didn't find that it fit into the characters' personalities at all. And I found a lot of the characters throughout the book did things that didn't fit in their personality. So for example, the main character of the story, Sadie, and this isn't really giving any of the story away, but at one point in the story, she steals keys out of the pocket of this woman that she has only met once, and goes to her house and searches through her house. She is a respected doctor, and I just don't think that someone in that position would take a huge chance like that, and no matter how curious they are about what's happening, to steal somebody's keys out of their pocket, almost get caught, go to their house and search through their house. I just don't think that that would happen. And that's really just one example. There's quite a few of those in the story. So it's described as a psychological twisty thriller on Goodreads, and I would put it in that category, but it's just not my favorite example of that genre. What I'm currently knitting is this book called 7 Lies. It's titled 7 Lies by Elizabeth Kay. Again, it's for my book club. Hold it up. And this one I am very interested in. I am almost halfway through it, and so far I am not really sure what is going to happen. I like all the characters, they're all interesting, so I will let you know next time what I thought of this book. I am also reading this book called Slow Knitting. It's from my public library. It's Slow Knitting, A Journey from Sheep to Skein to Stitch by Hannah Thiessen. This book is absolutely gorgeous. The photography in it is beautiful. Very much my aesthetic. I love the kind of cozy, dark feel of the photographs. The patterns are beautiful too. I have not tried to knit anything out of here, and I feel like as a beginner knitter that maybe most of these patterns are probably a little bit beyond me. They might not be beyond another beginner, but they are definitely beyond me. So this is the type of photography that is in the book. It's lovely to read, and I think that I am reading the book, and I love the way that the author describes the yarn, the background of where the yarn comes from, and you can really read her love of fiber and patterns and knitting itself, and why knitting is a worthwhile endeavor just on its own, even beyond what you create out of it. So anyways, it's a lovely book, and I definitely would recommend it. And it will have to go back to the library shortly because I believe it's due in a few days. So there's that. I also have this book. Called Cocoa Knits by Judy Weisenberger. It's a sweater workshop, and I also bought the journal that goes with it. I just really liked the idea that there is sort of a formula for creating sweaters. So this is knitting top-down seamless tailored sweaters. And when I started reading the book about how to do these types of sweaters, I understood the patterns, but I didn't understand how they fit into the workbook. So I signed up for a sweater workshop with Julie Weisenberger. So this is one of, I have to say that during the pandemic, there's been a lot of things that we've missed out on, and I don't want to diminish the pandemic at all, or what's happening, or people's feelings about it. But once in a while, there is a silver lining that comes out of it. And I think one of those silver linings is that people around the world are becoming maybe more connected. They're finding ways to connect through social media and through various online resources. So Vogue Knitting, which I think is prior, it was always a live event, which you had to travel to and then, attend in person. And I think there's huge value in that, but it's not accessible for everybody, whether you can get the time off, whether you have small children at home and you can travel or not. It's just not always the case that live events are accessible to everybody. So Vogue Knitting Live moved their workshops and their trunk shows and such online, and I was lucky enough to sign up for a Zoom workshop with Julie Weisenberger. She walked us through, if I was a better knitter, I would have been done a baby cardigan at the end of the workshop, because many people were, and if they weren't completely done, they were almost done. So if you are an experienced knitter, you could definitely be done knitting your baby cardigan. But I'm not a super experienced knitter, and I found that for me, rather than trying to knit at the same time she was talking and explaining things, it was just easier for me to put down my knitting and listen to what she was saying and pay attention. And I really got so much information out of that workshop. Even an intermediate knitter, she repeats things several times and gives plenty of time for people to catch up. It was simply my choice that I did not want to continue knitting while she was speaking. I really wanted to watch her demonstrations, even though it was great to watch them several times over. And the best part was her explaining how to use the worksheets that are in this book. So I may actually try to, we'll see, I haven't decided yet, but I may try and take the flax sweater and see if I can kind of adjust it and put it on the worksheet the way that she described, so that I don't forget how to use that worksheet for sweaters in the future. The flax happens to be by Tin Can Knits and has a lot of tutorials and a lot of help and explanation, and so many people have knit the sweater that I don't anticipate running into problems with it. So I don't know if it would require a worksheet like this, but I thought it would just really cement my learning in that particular workshop, and I want to do that. I don't want to forget what I learned in that workshop with Julie Weisenberger, because it was fabulous, and I know that I will use it in the future. I definitely want to knit almost every pattern in that Coco Knit sweater workshop. I would be happy if I could knit every single pattern. You may hear my dog making little doggy sleeping noises. She's beside me. You can't see her, but I can certainly hear her. So, a little add-on that I would like to do in my podcast is called What's Floating My Boat. And what that is just what's bringing me happiness, or bringing a little bit of joy into my life. And one of the things I wanted to share with you this week was, so this, I don't know if you could see that, but this tattoo on my arm of a feather and birds, it's beautiful as far as I'm concerned, and it's not real. So it is actually a temporary tattoo from Inkbox, and Inkbox is a Canadian company out of Toronto. If you go on their website, which I'll link below, it's a super slick website. They have a lot of collaborations with poets, artists, street artists. It's crazy. especially tattoo artists who you know, during this time when we're in the middle of a pandemic and most of the tattooing, as far as I know, at least in our province, is shut down. You can't get a tattoo. It's keeping these people in business and allowing them to do the type of work that they love, which is to design body art. Anyways, I have been wanting a tattoo for a long time, and I've been talking about it for a long time, and I had finally decided that I wanted to do it, and then the pandemic hit, and in my area where I live, it's not super easy to get in to get a tattoo anyways. There are quite a few tattoo artists in my area, but they're often booked up months or some up to a year ahead, or 18 months. A lot of times when I see somebody with a gorgeous tattoo, I will ask them, you know, who did that work for you, and they will tell me, oh, so and so did this. They're here local, but if you want to get in, it's an 18-month wait list, and you should put yourself on the cancellation list, and you might be able to get in sooner. So I found that a little bit off-putting, just because I don't know what I'm doing next week, let alone a year or 18 months from now. So rather than put myself on any wait lists, I had just actually put it off. But I still want to go ahead with it. When I saw these Inkbox temporary tattoos online and how gorgeous they were, I thought to myself that I would like to try them, because then I would get a feel for how it felt to have a real tattoo on my arm. So I ordered some, and they came in the packaging. These tattoos are water resistant. They say actually that they last 1 to 2 weeks, but a lot of online reviewers say that they last closer 3 to 4 weeks. Cruelty-free development, and they are plant-based. I ordered a bunch, so you're probably going to see more than one on me over the next several months. They come like this. So they're a light green, and you peel off the plastic and you put it on your arm, and it sticks there for an hour, and then you peel off the tattoo, and then it is actually just a light bluey green like this when you first put it on, and then over 24 to 48 hours it darkens up, and you can see it looks like, in my eyes anyways, it looks like a genuine tattoo. They also send you full instructions, and they send you these little primer wipes for each of the tattoos that you order. I just thought they were cool, and seeing this tattoo on my arm is really bringing me a lot of happiness, and I will definitely be getting a tattoo as soon as things start to open up and I am able to do so. What am I watching lately? I am a huge Anglophile. I really enjoy watching British television, primarily. So right now I'm watching Call the Midwife. I think it's called Call the Midwife. That is a series that started in 2012. I haven't watched it previously. I just started watching it a few weeks ago. I'm at the end of season 1. It's about a group of nurse midwives working in the East End of London in the late 50s, early 60s, and just what they get into and the situations that they encounter. I'm really enjoying it so far. I believe I will watch all 9 seasons and any further seasons. Currently I'm watching this series on CBC Gem, which is an app for your phone. Then I stream it to my TV. It's a free app. I am not sure if it's available outside of Canada or not. It's probably available elsewhere. I also have BritBox and Acorn through my Apple TV, and it may be available there. I'm not sure. I just find it easy to stream from my CBC Gem app, so I've been using that. And that's what I've been watching. What else? Is there anything further I wanted to talk to you about? I think that might be it. That's a lot, though. So I'm a little bit nervous, and I'm going to try and edit all of this film footage myself and upload the podcast myself, and we will see how that goes. And hopefully in another couple of weeks I will film and record another podcast and upload that as well, and it will continue on in that way. So if you did make it all the way to the end with me, thank you so much for joining me. This actually ended up being really fun. I started off super nervous, and I am still a bit nervous, but it was enjoyable because I felt like I was talking to my knitting friends. So anyways, thank you, and talk to you soon. Bye now.